So if you didn't know, Noam Baumbach is the husband, roommate, partner of feminist director Greta Gerwig, who directed the famous Barbie movie that came out this year. And he recently did an interview with his wife talking about the movie's reception and how a lot of people, specifically conservative commentators, perceived the movie to be anti-male with all of its jokes about the patriarchy, and they were called man-hating for it. And he's responded to that criticism by saying, I don't think it should hurt men's feelings. I mean, come on. That was pretty much all he had to say about it. And I think that the question itself doesn't make sense because the jokes that they made about the patriarchy weren't jokes. That was just their portrayal of how the world works.
Yes.
They believe that we live in a patriarchy.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. It's just what they truly believe to be true.
And do they make fun of women in the same way? Not really.
No,
Not as much. At least maybe the gynecology thing at the end.
That was supposed to be like a heartfelt, serious moment, though.
Yeah.
Like when she went to the gynecologist at the
Who are
end.
we-
I didn't see that as heartfelt and serious.
No, it
but
didn't
that's what I
stir
was
any
supposed to.
feelings.
But here's the thing.
Come on.
That is a real thing because when we were coming back from when we were
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Hold please. This is actually relevant to the gynecologist story. So when we were coming back from the flight, Taylor was with us. We all flew back on the same flight.
Okay.
Taylor was saying that the two flight attendants that sat behind her were talking about their latest trips to the gynecologist. So Barbie clearly worked. The feminist programming is front and center.
Well, not just that. She said she heard one of those women say that her gynecologist is black.
And didn't make any reference to whether
I don't know why that would matter or why that would need to be mentioned, but apparently women do.
They do talk about
their gynecologist appointments
I'm
with
telling
each other.
You, the feminism is real.
Anyway, so conservative figures blasted Barbie for its patriarchy jokes, which they perceived as being anti-man. Bill Maher called the film man-hating. It also mentions Matt Walsh, calling it the most aggressively anti-man feminist propaganda fest ever put to film. And Ben Shapiro's viral video in which he set Barbie dolls on fire with a barbecue lighter while railing against the movie. And he also did a review of the movie, hating it. And they said, I felt men could take it. I mean, come on. And that sounds silly to say out loud, but we love Ken. And Ken's position is he has no identity outside of Barbie. So I guess they felt like they needed to give him that identity in the end of the movie and totally squashed our hopes for Barbie and Ken to end up together at the end.
Yeah.
I think the movie was more anti-romance than it was anti-man.
Like marriage, anti-connection between men
It was
and women.
anti the complementarity between men and women itself.
It kind of pushes the narrative in a lot of the same ways that a lot of the talk that we have now in dating culture and the differences between men and women is that both sides heavily focus on what sets us apart, what makes us different, rather than focusing on the things that bring us together. I think it's funny because it's such a platitude back in the day, but back in the day in Hollywood, what they would focus on is like, oh, like our differences aren't that, like we don't have that much that separates us. We're not all that different, right? That was a big theme back in the day. We're all human was something that you would see in a lot of these things. And I feel like at award shows, they would say stuff like that, like, oh, we're all, why can't we all just get along? We're all more alike than we would like to believe. And now that's never the focus. Even if it's a platitude, it's at least a platitude that would on its face bring people together or try to bring people together.
That you're 100% right, but I feel like unless it's a tangible product. So what they've done is they sell stuff to men, they sell stuff to women, but now they also sell a third product to gender neutral people or non-binary people. So when it comes to consumer products, they want to separate people as much as possible to cover every demographic, but when it comes to movies, they want to separate, contradict the ways in which men and women complement each other and are work well together,
It's
essentially.
one of the things that Lady Ballers did, though maybe perhaps a bit heavy-handedly, with the speech that he gives at the end to his daughter, is pointing out that men and women are different, and even though men excel at these specific things, that doesn't mean that there aren't things that women aren't. That there aren't things that women are really, really good at, because there are.
I feel like that speech he gave was the antidote to America Ferrera's horrible speech monologue that was in Barbie, where she just complains about how much it sucks to be a woman, and there's no solution that's offered other than a political revolution that they stage. It just doesn't have any resolution to it.
And these days, the women's complaints and the men's complaints are going to be treated very, very differently. The women's complaints will be taken seriously, and they will be looked at as something that we need to address in society. Groups will be formed and committees will be made. And the men's complaints will say, you're being silly, stop worrying about it.
Well, that's exactly the response that they had to anyone being offended by anti-male jokes in the movie. Is why do you care so much? And get over it. You have fragile, toxic masculinity. So this comedian Mark Maron said on social media that Barbie was a masterpiece, and the comedy about men is inspired in the movie. And the fact that certain men took offense to the point where they tried to build a grift around it in terms of their narrative is right-wing beep. It's so embarrassing for them. So embarrassing. Any dude that can't take those hits in that movie, they've really got to look in their pants and decide what they're made of. I mean, beep. What a bunch of insecure babies.
Babies.
They have to look in their pants, but I thought your gender wasn't determined by what's in your pants.
That's true.
Yeah, which is also part of the Barbie movie, is that no one in Barbie land has genitals. So why can't everyone just be the same?
Yeah. And I think when we reviewed the movie, though I didn't like it, what I said, if I remember correctly, was I actually really enjoyed the first 45 minutes before the platitudes started getting heavy-handed. When it was just Ken and Barbie making their way into the real world, I thought that stuff was done really, really well, and Ken was funny. And let's face it, he was the standout of this movie to most people.
He was.
People remember Ken a hell of a lot more than they remember Barbie.
That's
from
when
that
I
film.
got excited about the movie too. Is when I knew they were casting Ryan Gosling. He did a great job.
But people didn't really have as much of a problem with what Barbie was saying. They had a problem with America Ferrera as the human character's interpretation of all of these very real world issues, which felt a little heavy-handed, which is why when a person who is traditionally right-wing watches Lady Ballers and gets a little bit heavy-handed dialogue, they're going to be more forgiving of that dialogue because it reaffirms their worldview. Whereas somebody who is a more left-leaning individual who gets some heavy-handed dialogue from America Ferrera will be more forgiving of it because it reaffirms their worldview.
Right. That's what I don't like about that movie, is that we're given such heavy issues and we're given such surface level solutions.
Right.
And everyone's just coming up with problems like America Ferrera's rant towards the end, and then the solution is to go to the gynecologist.
Yeah.
So we want a real answer. There's deeper solutions and compromises.
It was really thrown together. And clearly the movie took itself way too seriously. I think that's the main flaw in it. And then anyone who doesn't like it, we have Whoopi Goldberg screaming at us, it's a doll movie. Why do you even care? It's a doll movie for kids. You're ridiculous for having any criticisms of it. When in reality, it was trying to be something much more serious than a doll movie.
Right.
It was trying to make a polemic about society.
Yeah.
It had serious
Gaslighting
messaging
Whoopi.
in it.
People have done the same.
She is gaslighting us.
People have done the same. I mean, but they do this anytime you have any critique of any art, right? They say, why do you care? It's not for you. Why do you care this, and that? And look, as somebody who is traditionally very much a, if it doesn't affect me, it's none of my business. This job doesn't really allow me to do that in a lot of respects, right? You have to have an opinion on stuff sometimes, even if maybe necessarily it's not something you would find yourself engaged with.
Caring about.
But when people say why do you care about the message of a movie like Wish? Like, look, it's very easy for me to say that, and on 99 days out of 100, I probably do take that opinion. But I'm also not stupid and understand that the way culture is formed is through stories being passed down by, families, right? Back in the day, your parents would play you their, the movies that they liked and they watched, or they took you to the Disney movies of that time. Now you as parents will have to do that for your kids. So sure, maybe it's a strong interpretation of what you look at as consumerist art. It is, but it doesn't mean it's out of the realm of discussion to consider that worth having that talk.
Art is meant to have a deeper meaning.
Yeah.
No matter what you want to say. Especially Whoopi Goldberg, who used to be extremely edgy and tries to pretend like she never was.
True.
I mean, but isn't that what usually happens? Like, you're edgy in the beginning of your career, then
Make the money and then retreat.
Well, no, you make
Just
mainstream
read the
success.
script.
You find mainstream success, and then you tone it down little by little until you're the neutered version of yourself. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'm pretty toned down anyways, but I'm looking forward to the day when I'm just
Nah, you're gonna go full Alex Jones. Just wait. You're gonna do the reverse.
I can't wait to just be an Access Media shill where I get to ask Rachel Zegler, oh my God, like, what did you think of like the costumes? Like, did you like the costumes? I'll do it. Like, pay me.
You hated them? Oh my gosh, me too, sis.
Me too. Like, I'll do it.
I also watched the Variety Actors on Actors with Cillian Murphy and Margot Robbie to see if they would reveal anything interesting about it, and it was about as uninteresting as you would expect. And I have a conspiracy theory that Cillian Murphy did not watch Barbie. He was fully pretending that he watched Barbie while Margot Robbie was just fawning over
why
him.
would he?
Margot Robbie was fawning over Oppenheimer, fawning over Peaky Blinders and his whole career. And she was so excited to be there. And he just seemed very...
Passive.
That's
him, though.
He was very dismissive. He was just like,
nonchalant.
I don't know. They asked me to be here. I kind of don't know who you are. I never watched the Barbie movie, but they gave me some notes.
He's like that. Like, one of the great ones you'll watch the interview of him because he was being interviewed on the red carpet when the strike went into effect, and he just stops talking and leaves. It's so good.
That's hilarious.
Like, he's
also him saying that he doesn't know what memes are went viral several times. I aspire to be that offline one day.
Yeah.
Also, just thought I'd mention, Forbes put out a powerful women list of the 100 most powerful women of the year, and Barbie was ranked 100 on the list, even though she's not a real woman, and I'm not a woman in general.
She's all of you, Mary. She's all of you.
She's every woman.
Barbie joins Forbes' list of the world's 100 most powerful women after emerging as a symbol not only of female empowerment, but the necessity of fighting to recapture power that's been taken away.
See, okay, so take that statement.
Oh,
right?
but it's a doll! It's a doll! Why do you care so
movie.
much? It doesn't mean anything! It's a doll!
Movie. Why do you give a crap? Right?
Well, clearly other people do.
You don't get to
So-
say that statement and then say, but it's just a doll movie at the same time, you hypocritical douche canoe.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.